All right, so I'm going to walk you through setting up your client handout library from the beginning. So I don't have a folder for that in here yet. You can see that I just have my existing Google Drive. So I'm going to start by creating a new folder. And in this case, I'm going to call that folder my client handout library. And I'm going to create it. So now I've got that here. I'm going to double click on that. Now I've got a blank empty folder. Inside of this folder, I'm going to create 2 additional folders. So the first folder is my client handout templates. And then I'm also going to create a second folder that I'm going to call shared client handout folders. Create that. And I'm going to create one additional one so I can show you what I would do if it was a class. So in this case, I'm going to create one more folder, and this is going to be shared class handout folders. Great. All right, so now I've got these 3 folders here. In my client handout templates, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a file here that I've actually already uploaded. I've already set up in my drive. I'm just going to go find it, and I'm going to move it into this folder for you. Oops, I have a typo in my folder name. I'm actually going to click here and hit rename and fix that. So it should be templates, not whatever it says. Not that it really is going to make a difference, but there you go. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to find it. It's called DTU recalls. Recall class sample doc. There we go. So this is, in my case, actually a syllabus, but let's pretend that this is walking you through one of these exercises from my recall class. So I'm going to go File, make a copy, and I'm going to name it something like Recall Class Template, and I'm going to save it in the right folder. So in this case, I'm going to go into my drive. I'm going to find the Client Handout Library folder. I'm going to find my Client Handout Templates folder, and I'm going to go ahead and move that in there and hit OK. So now when I go into that folder, I'll find this. So let me close all these extra links down so I can show you that. So if I come here and I go to my Client Handout Library and into my templates, you can see that templates here. Now let's say if this was the exercise about starting to make a recall fun, right? If that was this exercise, we would go File, make a copy. I just had a lesson with Fluffy McFlufferson all about how to make their recall fun. So I'm going to delete the copy of recalls, and I'm going to name it recalls fun. And I could put the dog's name in here, or I could choose not to. In my case, now I'm going to change where this is saved out of the template folder. And instead, I want to put it in the shared client handout folder. I don't have a folder yet for Fluffy McFlufferson, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new folder. Okay. And then I'm going to add it to that folder, so select. And I'm going to hit OK. I could also hit, say, share with the same people if I wanted to. But in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. Now I've just had my first lesson. I've added that to their folder. So now I need to send them access to that folder. So I'm going to go back over here, back to my Client Handout Library, into my shared client handouts, right-click on Fluffy McFlufferson's folder, and hit share. And I'm going to put Fluffy McFlufferson's mom and dad's email address in here and go ahead and share it with them. So in this case, I'm going to share it with another one of my email addresses just so that I can show you how that works. I want to notify them, so I want to send them an email to tell them that this is available. Instead of editor, I'm only going to make them viewers. I don't want them to actually edit that file. I'm going to type a message into them. All right, so I've typed in a message, and I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And now it'll send them access to that file, or that folder rather, and it'll send them my little note, my little message that I sent them. And anytime they log in and go into this folder, they will find all of the documents that I've added here. So that's how it would work if it was an individual client. What if I was doing a class? So if I was going to do a class, I have 2 options. First, I'm going to back all the way out to my client handout folder. I'm going to go into my shared class. I can either create, either way, I'm going to create a folder for the class. So I'm going to go new. I'm going to go new folder. What I will probably do is create a folder for each time I have the class so I can add documents to it as we go so that, the week 6 exercises aren't in there on week 1 just because I'm hosting a class again. So in that case, I might do something like recalls, class starting 2020, November 2020. Right, so now I've got in the class and when it started, so I know which folder I'm adding things to and giving people access to. I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And now I've got 2 options. I can either change this to share this and I can put in each individual student's email address, or I can change access and instead of making this just for click and repeat, make it anybody with the link can access this folder, and then I'm just going to send all of my students this link. And anybody who goes to this link will have access to those files. So for now, I've made this a public folder, which means anybody with the link can access it. Now I need to add a file to it because right now there's nothing here. So go back to my client handout library, back to my templates. Let's say I just did my first recall class. And now I've gone through this and we talked through exercise 1 and exercise 2 for the first week. And let's pretend this doc now has all of the things they're supposed to do, including their homework for the first week. Okay, so now let's copy this into that folder so that they'll all have access to it. So file, and I'm going to go down and make a copy. And I'm going to say recall class week 1 exercises. And maybe I would add some additional information in there, right? So in this particular class, I tend to cover collar grabs week 1, touch week 1, making recalls fun. So those are the 3 exercises that I would cover in that class. Now, instead of my handouts, I want this to go into my shared class folder, into the one starting November 2020, select, and I can say OK. And that'll add it to that folder. And then if they go to that folder, they'll have access to that document. So just to show you what that will look like on your client's end. So if I go here, right click on this, go to the share and grab that link. Copy link, done. I'm going to open up an incognito window so you can just see really quickly what this looks like for a client. So if they were to go to that link, this is what they would see. They would see Drive. If they're signed in, they would see their sign-in information here. And they'd see all of the folders or files that you have uploaded into that folder. So they could look at it. And you can see here that they can look at all of these things. But if I click into it, I can't actually edit it. Let me go ahead and dismiss that. It's not really helpful for us right now. So then they have access to what you covered. They can read through the information and see what their homework was and what the exercises were without any of them being able to actually edit any of the information in the file or in the folder. So they can't accidentally delete something from another student. So that's how that would work. And that you could use that, again, for your classes or for your private clients. So long as you have your client handouts done, you're in good shape. Now, I will say the one downside to this, you can upload videos. So you can add videos directly to the files, but video files are large. So they will take up your Google Drive storage very quickly. So if you have a lot of videos, what I would recommend doing is adding the video links. I would upload the videos to YouTube and then add the video links to your handouts instead, so clients can click over and go watch them over on YouTube. Hopefully that helps. I hope that's really helpful for some of you guys, and I hope that some of you end up using Google as your handout library.